Bronnie Ware, she's an Australian author and she's a palliative care nurse. I don't know if you know what palliative care is, but it's someone who takes care of end-of-life care for someone in need. And she wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the number one, or one of the major regrets that people had, were not spending time with loved ones and losing connection with them. So relationships will be one of your biggest regrets in life if you don't put effort into them. So on this video, I'm going to be talking about relationships and how to ensure they're successful and how to ensure they're healthy. Emerson said, "As we are, so we associate." So the question I ask you, what type of person are you? Are you the ideal person to be in a relationship, whether it be a romantic relationship or a friendship with? So what type of person are you? Are you somebody who is talking behind your friends' backs? Are you somebody that is always complaining? Are you somebody that's always seeing the dark side of things? Because if you're not the ideal person to be in a relationship, whether it be romantic or a friendship, how can you expect a person to want to have a relationship with you? It's so important to develop yourself, to develop your character, to develop your positive traits and work on your negative traits so that you can be the ideal person to be in a relationship, romantic or a friendship. So Ovid said, abundance makes you poor. I want you to think about abundance makes you poor. So when we tie that back to relationships, it's so important to understand that in relationships, we get complacent. And when we get complacent, we stop doing things that actually built the relationship in the beginning. I remember going to a seminar with Tony Robbins, and he said, do what you did in the beginning and there won't be an end. So do what you did in the beginning and there won't be an end. So in your relationships, when you first started your relationships, you were probably going out for date nights quite frequently. You're probably going to the movies. You're probably asking quality questions and listening intently to your romantic relationships or in your friendships. And then as your relationships evolved, what happened? You got complacent. And as you got complacent, the relationship died off. So as Tony Robbins said, do what you did in the beginning and there won't be an end, right? Abundance does make you poor. When you get surrounded by your loved ones, your family and friends so often, we can get complacent. And complacency is a killer, especially in relationships. So put effort in. When you're going out for dinner with your friends, when you're going out for dinner with your loved ones, put your phone away. Get rid of the distractions. Be there and now. Be present. And by being present, you work in your relationship and it'll develop and it'll become stronger. With our relationships, how many people would sacrifice a relationship for $1? I know I grew up around a few people that were more interested in developing, a big financial wealth over their relationships. And along the journey, they lost their friends, but also I come across a similar situation in my life. I was so busy focusing on my business, I wasn't putting effort into my relationships. And then what was quite unfortunate and sad and actually made me tear up was when I stopped getting invited to my friends' birthdays, when I stopped getting invited to their children's birthdays, when I stopped getting invited to their weddings. And it really made me reflect. It really made me reflect on the relationships. Because if we focus on only money at the cost of our relationships, and when we tie it back to one of the biggest regrets people have in their lives is their relationships, is it really going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth, chasing that dollar and only that dollar in the cost of our relationships? Our relationships are so meaningful. Don't just pursue financial wealth, pursue relationships. Because in the end, money isn't going to buy you fulfillment. The relationship will. Another great quote from Emerson, he said, "The only way to have a friend is to be one." So it's quite an interesting thing. Are you being a friend? Are you being a friend? Or are you so focused on yourself and not on your relationships? I know that sometimes people need a shoulder to lean on. And are you there for them to be able to depend upon you? Right now at work, we've had a couple of people where some of their family members have passed away. And are you there? Are you that person that they can depend upon for a phone call to, shed some tears? Because in order to have a strong relationship, whether it be romantic or friendship, you need to be a friend. And a friend is someone who's going to listen. It's someone who's going to provide the relationship, provide them support, give them love, give them attention. Are you a friend? Are you actively trying to be a friend to the people around you? Or do you only have your self-interest at heart? Relationships are a two-way street. You need to put effort into the relationship, otherwise they're not going to flourish. If you're not putting effort into the relationship, it's like a plant that needs water. If you put water into a plant, it's going to grow. If you don't put water into the plant, it's not going to grow. And the same as your relationships. You need to put effort into the relationship for it to grow. A lot of the time, our relationships are ruined because we try and prove our point. We're so caught up in trying to prove ourselves right and trying to prove the other person wrong that we ruin our relationships. What's the point? What's the point of proving yourself? In a relationship, at the end of the day, everybody's got opinions. And if you're constantly battling your friends and constantly trying to prove them wrong and you right, you're gonna lose your relationships. If you don't agree with your friend, you can tell them, or you can go, thanks for your feedback or thanks for your advice, and move on. We don't always need to get in heated discussions with our friends when we don't agree with them. There's no point of adding fuel to the fire. If someone has an opinion or a comment, so be it. Let them have that. We don't need to constantly provoke them and constantly get on their nerves. You can just say, look, thanks, that's your opinion, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. That's all you need to do. You don't need to lean into it and put more effort into it and add fuel to the fire. A relationship is a relationship. You don't need to create arguments all the time. Otherwise, you're gonna ruin your relationship. In relationships, it's so important to understand that with relationships, some people are gonna piss you off. Some people are gonna annoy you. And that's just life. And recognize that in a relationship, if you're allowing another person to trigger you, who do you think actually has the power in the relationship? The other person. So in a relationship, you're gonna get people you like, you don't like, and just recognize anytime that another person makes you upset, who's in control? That person has said something to you and that person's caused you to be upset. So that person is actually in control. So understand in your relationship, don't allow another person to trigger you. Let it slide under the rug. Don't let it bother you, because anytime it bothers you, they're in control of the relationship. Take control of yourself and take control of your relationship by not letting other people's words affect you, and then you have more deep and meaningful relationships. And another thing in relationships that's really important to understand is that everyone around you is a reflection of you. Your friends, your family. At the end of the day, we're all on this planet, we're all connected. We are all one big family. We are all one big community, one big relationship community. And there's no point causing arguments, there's no point causing dilemmas or fights, because at the end of the day, a relationship is one of the joys in life. In life, your relationships will give you the biggest fulfillment. And if we don't see that we're all connected on this beautiful place called Earth, and that we're all connected to this beautiful reality, and we're constantly getting in fights and arguing with the people around us, you're not going to be a happy person. You're not going to be fulfilled. In life, relationships are going to give you the greatest level of fulfillment. Put the effort into relationships and you'll have a fulfilling life and a fulfilling wife or husband. So with your relationships, understand that your relationships around you are going to reflect who you are, or they're going to reflect a part of you. So put effort into them. Put effort into relationships and you have a fulfilling life. Thanks for watching. I hope you got some value out of this video. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.